Hi again, everybody. It's time for Frankly Speaking. I'm your host, Frank Phillips, and our guest today is Steve Gallagher, President of the Crawfordsville Redevelopment Commission, and we're going to be talking about Ivy Tech and the Commerce Park today. We hope you'll stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Zoom in. I can't believe this is happening. Oh, the size of that thing. It's everywhere. Are you getting this? Yeah, I got it. What was that? It's the National Guard. How'd they get here so fast? I don't know. Pull over. Pull over.
Do you have what it takes to head into the heart of the storm? Check out NationalGuard.com.
And we're back on Frankly Speaking. My name is Frank Phillips. On my left is Steve Gallagher. I almost mispronounced your name. He is the president of the Crawfordsville Redevelopment Commission. And, of course, the Commerce Park has been going on for some time now, some years. Where are we now with that? Are we ready to be marketing it?
Frank, I think the answer is yes, almost. We're almost ready. I believe this is my 5th year on the commission.
Okay.
And in the first 3 to 4 years, we spent a lot of time doing things to get the park ready.
Mm-hmm.
I won't necessarily go through all of those, but some of that involved finishing the infrastructure out at the park. We had the park appraised. You need to have land appraised before you can sell it. We had some preliminary covenants developed. So if any companies come in that are interested, they see an idea of what kind of standards that we want to have in the park. We had the park platted so that companies could see approximate lot sizes. So that's by no means an exhaustive list, but that's just there's a lot. It took a lot of work over 3 or 4 years to get the park ready.
Mm-hmm.
Last fall, we were in the process of interviewing commercial real estate companies to represent the park. We were very close to making a selection when suddenly and unexpectedly we received a proposal from Ivy Tech. Okay, and that caused us to shift our focus, and we've spent a lot of time trying to help Ivy Tech do what they need to do and give them what they want to have. I personally think that once we get the Ivy Tech resolved and on track, then we'll move right back into a marketing mode. We'll select a commercial real estate developer, or not developer, but commercial real estate broker, and we'll get right back on track with marketing the park.
Okay. When was Ivy Tech? When was Commerce Park first planned and established?
That's a little bit before my time, and I'm not exactly sure of the whole sequence there, but
okay.
I believe I joined the commission in '06.
Mm-hmm.
And in '06 we were just finishing up the infrastructure, which included putting in the road Philward Boulevard. There were sewers or storm sewers installed there. There were street lights. The sign was done. We were trying to get the sign finished, so all of that was being finished up in '06. So I would guess that the park, this is just a guess, goes back to '05 or '04
okay.
in terms of its start. Yeah.
All right. And where are we with Ivy Tech then?
Well, the current status with Ivy Tech is that the city council has already had 2 readings of a resolution from the Redevelopment Commission to spend up to $400,000 to hire an architect and a construction management company to design a building and get that whole project going. A 3rd reading is coming up with the City Council at their meeting, I believe, is on August 8th. Sooner than that, the Crawford, not the Montgomery County Commissioners are meeting on Thursday of this week on July 28th, where they'll be voting on a resolution to contribute up to $2 million toward the Ivy Tech project. That's an important vote because the result of the vote could have some effect on the city council and how they might vote in terms of moving this forward. Okay.
Okay, and this will be live on this website next week, which is after Thursday, but nevertheless, you can look on our website. We'll have a complete report of what happens at that county council meeting or county commissioners meeting.
Commissioners meeting on the 28th,
and
right?
also be following this story as we have been. The $2 million that you're hoping to get from the county. Now, is that about half of? Somebody mentioned the term half. Is that half of what it's going to take to get the building built, or what?
Well, we think that that's going to be about half of the project cost. Okay. Now, we don't have exact numbers, but the project was originally estimated to be about a $4 million project, with the building costing maybe $3 to $3.2 million, and then another $700,000 or $800,000 required for site improvements at the site,
Parking lot and so forth.
Get utilities connected, get everything in there, and then there'd be some legal fees and some financial advising fees on top of that. But I would like to think that $4 million would get the total project done.
Okay. Why is it important for Ivy Tech to relocate in Commerce Park, Steve?
Well, we've had several commercial realtors tell us that Ivy Tech locating in the Commerce Park will make their job much, much easier in terms of attracting companies to move into the park. There's several companies, and of course they're not naming them, but there's several companies that can make use of Ivy Tech's facilities for training, it'll help upgrade the workforce, and so it's an attractive thing for the park. It'll also help make the park stand out and give it something that a lot of other parks don't have. Okay.
Well, I would think that an expanded Ivy Tech would benefit companies all over Montgomery County, not just those that choose to locate in the park.
No question. I think that it depends on how the new Ivy Tech is constructed, and how that's all put together, and what type of training they want to provide. But all around the state, Ivy Tech in several locations provides training for companies in all kinds of areas. So this should be a big plus, big bonus for all businesses here in the county.
One of the rumblings we keep hearing is, well, if we don't do this for Ivy Tech's going to pull up roots and fold their tents and go down the road somewhere, wherever somewhere might be. Have they indicated to you that there would be any danger of them leaving Montgomery County?
I have not heard that. I think so far Ivy Tech's been quite patient with all of this, and willing to take their time to see it through. But they've said nothing to me that would indicate that they're running out of patience or they're ready to go someplace else.
And neither have they indicated that to me when I've talked to Jeff Knowles or Dr. Baith or any of those people. But we still keep hearing those things. How do you deal with the people who don't think that this is a good idea to build in Commerce Park for Ivy Tech? What's your response to them?
Well, I think that the people that don't think that's a good idea need to understand the competitive situation here in the state, and just how competitive it is for cities and towns to attract businesses. I've said before in several meetings that our Commerce Park is now one of 62 state certified shovel-ready parks. When we first, one of the first things we did back in '06 was to get the park certified. When we did that, we were one of about 20. Well, now we're one of over 60.
Wow.
And the competition is just extraordinary. And every city and town of any size is all trying to do the same thing. Okay, so having an Ivy Tech in the park does distinguish us compared to, or will distinguish us compared to all these other 60 parks. Okay.
Now, when you drive down Phil Ward Road there in Commerce Park, it's obvious that there's, for lack of a better term, a stub that's pointing towards 231. And is that going to be finished to provide an entrance into Commerce Park from 231?
Well, there's been no decision made about that. There's been a couple of I'll call them casual inquiries into the cost to extend that stub out to 231.
Right.
Okay. The cost estimates were anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000, depending on what all you wanted to do. We haven't discussed that. We haven't made any mention of it in the commission meetings. One comment I would make is that in our meetings last year with some of the commercial real estate people in Indianapolis, more than one of those companies, when they looked at the layout of the park, right away said, and this was well before Ivy Tech came along, that that the park needs an entrance out to 231 with big signage out there, so it's visible and people know where it is. And there was more than one company said right away that that's one of the first things you need to do to improve the park.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sign for Commerce Park, but it
Right.
is kind of hidden back there on Smith Boulevard.
Nobody
so.
sees it, and theoretically that could be moved out to out along 231 if we decided to do that.
Is there any more infrastructure improvements planned for Commerce Park?
Not right now, notwithstanding whatever is required for Ivy Tech. Okay, we've got the so-called phase 1 of the park, which is roughly 60 acres up at the north end, pretty well finished. There's really nothing more to do there.
So that's just phase 1.
Right, it is.
And then where is phase 2 and other things going to be located?
Well, phase 2 would be further south, and there's a total of about 215 acres in the park.
Okay.
So the park has some size, and probably the last area to be developed would be what's called the old Brickyard south of Concord Road. That would take quite a bit of effort down there to develop that, but it could be very attractive because it's rolling and wooded, and it's a kind of a turkey run like setting in there.
Yeah. It really is. We have a lot of shrubbery, a lot of plants in Commerce Park. What was the thinking behind that?
That was part of the original design, which again was before my time.
Okay.
I think the park was laid out in a way that the original design was to promote a campus-like setting there, and with nice landscaping and shrubbery, and of course there's still a little wooded area to the north, and the lake is over there. So
Yeah.
I think that was the idea.
Does Commerce Park have any of the land north of the interstate?
Just slightly.
Okay.
On the following along Concord Road, going north, just on the other side of the interstate, there's, I'm going to say, roughly 6 or 7 acres of land there that's part of the Commerce Park.
Okay. And has it been established yet where on that 60 acres Ivy Tech would be built?
Yeah, Ivy Tech is not completely decided on a site, but they want to be at at the south end of the 60 acres along.
Okay, so when we're thinking about it, we're talking about near the hospital.
Correct.
Okay.
And on either the north or the south side of Phil Ward Boulevard, down where it connects with Concord Road. And,
Okay.
and I think probably the more likely location is the south side of Phil Ward Boulevard toward the hospital. Right.
Well, that would give two entrances, one off of Smith and one off of 231 on Concord Road. Then.
Concord Road. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for a while, the Concord Road entrance there could be okay. That could be okay. If
I'm thinking that might even be safer than Smith Boulevard, because I know that I live out in that area and it's kind of dicey at times dodging the trucks and the McDonald's traffic and so forth.
Yeah, that's true. And you may be aware that NDOT has also expressed some concerns about extending the stub on Phil Ward Boulevard out to 231 with just another entrance there and more vehicles coming in and out. So that's an issue that we would have to discuss and solve if we would want to have another entrance, coming out on 231.
It seems that NDOT hesitates when we're talking about putting a new entrance directly onto a U.S. highway like that.
I think so. I understand their concern. But there may be some ways to resolve that. Okay, we haven't really studied it seriously, but in any case, I think short term, an entrance at Concord Road for Ivy Tech could be quite okay.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else you'd like to say about Ivy Tech or Commerce Park to people who are watching this?
I think the only other comment I would make is not so much about Ivy Tech, but it's about the competition and the energy and the effort that's going to be required to get companies into the park. I personally think that's going to take a large networking effort, and it's going to take more than just a commercial realtor, and it's going to take more than a few volunteers on the redevelopment commission. Okay, I think some real networks have got to be developed, and that takes time, and it takes a lot of follow-up, and once we get Ivy Tech settled down, we'll be working on that networking aspect.
What has been Brandy Allen's part in this? I think she's been working with the website. Is that correct?
Brandy's worked with the website and with a local company called Blue Marketing that's designed the site and has upgraded the site. And Brandy's been an immense help to the Redevelopment Commission, because she's the person that can handle a lot of day-to-day tasks that we're not able to do ourselves because we're volunteers.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's right there in the city building, literally down the hall from the city council chambers. So, so that helps. And a lot of times people can go to her, business people, and can ask questions about permitting and so forth.
Yeah, and Brandy's very knowledgeable about all of that. She's been extremely helpful to us.
Oh, good. That's great. We'll be back right after this. You're watching Frankly Speaking. My guest today is Steve Gallagher, president of the Crawfordsville Redevelopment Commission.
Zoom in. I can't believe this is happening. Oh, what size is that thing? It's everywhere. Are you getting this? Yeah, I've got it. What was that? It's the National Guard. How'd they get here so fast? I don't know. Pull over. Pull over.
Do you have what it takes to head into the heart of the storm? Check out NationalGuard.com.
And we're back on Frankly Speaking. Steve Gallagher has been my guest today. My name is Frank Phillips. Steve, thanks so much for coming by.
My pleasure. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and good luck to you as you continue to work on developing Commerce Park and also with Ivy Tech.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Right. Happy to be here.
My name is Frank Phillips. You've been watching Frankly Speaking. We'll be back next Monday with another live show. Meanwhile, remember, you can always access any of these programs on our website by clicking on the link on the home page. Have a great day, won't you? Be good to your neighbor and take time for yourself. Bye-bye.